Okay, hello YouTubers, and today I'm doing another Doctor Who rip-offs E-type video. Regardless, the first thing, at the time, when was this? October 2023, so yeah. At the time, this would have still been a rip-off. Now, maybe less so. And that because at the time, you could get the set for like 15 quid. Anyway. But that's not the interesting thing about this. The interesting thing, it says a custom Skaro Dalek. What exactly is custom about it? I'm being serious. What is actually custom about it? Because from the picture and the other pictures at the side, that it looks like a stock, Death Zone Dalek. Like, literally nothing about it. My Death Zone Dalek is more custom than that because my, main Death Zone Dalek, I sprayed it with clear gloss so that it was more accurate to the actual prop. Now, there are still a lot of issues in that with that. For one, obviously, I've mentioned the eye is wrong. It should have the oval and that in the middle. But, yeah, again, I don't know what's really custom about this one. So, meh. Moving on. Okay, so moving on, this is a Facebook one, and it says here, Doctor Who stuff, is like more details. Okay, so showing all the Doctor Who stuff. So this is £300. £300, so you can see here, we've got, and you can still find, I think there is still some B&Ms that still have these Big Chief Dalek multi-packs, but you can see here, we've got some older stuff. You can see this was October from last year, so I've been sitting on these for quite a while. Again, I don't know if this is still available, and we've got some books and a board game and that there. And we've also got some mugs and, oh yes, that sonic screwdriver projector, which, my god, that thing sat in toy, like, literally, a lot of the time I do remember between, like, 2010 and 2011, that was, like, one of the only things that was, like, regularly in stock, because no one really wanted it. I got one for Christmas one year, and, yeah, I will say also, I think this is one of the last, products and that, like, character options, products that had the batteries, installed separately in the box there. Yeah, demo batteries not already inserted into the device, so yeah. Which obviously helps its longevity. We'll get onto that in a minute. So yeah, the thing is though, that sonic screwdriver, like, it is brand new sealed, though it does look, I can't tell if it's just the picture, but it does look like the packaging is a little bit crushed around here. We've obviously got all these Doctor Who mugs, none of which are really worth that much. Then we've got the books and that, and the puzzle. Again, like, okay, I'll be fair. Let's say a £5 per book, including that Monsters book, because I think I've got that one, and I think I got it brand new in WH Smith for a £5. And that, and we'll see a £5 for the puzzle and that, and we'll be generous and say a £5 for each one. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So up to £60. And for the hell of it, we'll see a £5 for that Cyberman keychain head. Extra £5 there. And for the rest of the stuff, like, regardless of how you look at it, I'd say if this was £100, I'd say you'd be getting a decent deal. But 300, nah. Even 150, I'd be like, I don't know, like. But £300, sorry, no. I mean, the rarest, and I use that in massive quotation marks, the most valuable item here is the 4th Doctor set, followed then by the 5 Doctors set, and then you could also argue then the Earthshock set, and then everything else is not really worth very much. But yeah, not a Doctor item. I just thought this was interesting. This was on Thursday, October 19th. This was not long after. This was literally, I think, 2 or 3 weeks after Wilkinson's closed. £500 for Wilkinson's carrier bag. I still do have 1 or 2 Wilkinson's carrier bags. I've definitely got one, which I decided to, keep and not use anymore. I just, I do keep my carrier bags when I do get carrier bags and that, and just use them until they, either get destroyed or whatever. But the Wilkinson's one, after they closed down, I decided I'll just keep this Wilkinson's carrier bag, just, as a reminder of the shop. But yeah, £500. And this is local to me. This is in Newcastle. Just like, nah. Like, that carrier bag is going to outlive us. So, sorry, but... Well, sorry, not sorry. Like, who in their right mind is going to pay £500? Like, especially considering the shop had only been closed, like, 2 or 3 weeks at this point. There's going to be plenty of them out there. There's going to be plenty of them still out there. Now, if this was, now, nearly a year later, even then I'd say no, absolute rip-off. But, basically, should have left this for a bit, keep it hidden away, and then, but, oh well, guess that's how it goes. Okay, so this one is neither of those. This one is just I find a little bit interesting. So this is from a Doctor Who figures group. I think a friend sent me this. I have 2 Doctor Who, and I've never seen anyone spell Daleks like that. Daleks. Like, I'm dyslexic, and, even I know, it's just like, what the hell? In the box, never being used. I could do with some advice on the value, as I want to sell them. Okay, so we'll go with 2 things I want to mention about this. Number 1, the spelling of Dalek. Yeah. If you didn't know how to spell Dalek. Yeah. I mean, it also says it in that over here. Obviously, small text. But on this one, big letters. I mean, Dalek is literally in a bigger font than the bloody Doctor Who logo on there. Second thing is, inbox never used. I don't know. Like, those boxes look heavily used. Like, the thing is, that looks like it's been in and out of the box several times. And so does the other one. Like, the boxes look really battered. Now, it's nice that they still do have the boxes, even though if it's battered and a bit ripped there, but yeah, never used. I don't know. I mean, at least they're saying that they have been out of the box. Like, they're not claiming they never have, but yeah. Also, you can see on this one, yellow dome lights, really yellowed eye stalk there. Now, that can mean one of 2 things. Either it's been sitting in the sun where it's UV exposed, could very well be the case. The only other option is this person is a heavy smoker. So, yeah. I'm going to say it's the former option rather than the latter. And that. So, but, yeah. Again, not Doctor Who related, just sort of... Sorry, I just got myself the recording there. Getting knocked Doctor Who just thought was interesting. A Baldy mug. So it was interesting. And stuff like this. Halloween, reborn dolls, vampire hybrids, werewolf and zombie, also zombies. Ugh. Why would you want this? Why? Just why? Moving on. Oh, I swear I've seen this seller before pop up. £700 for Doctor Who Remembrance of the Daleks figures. Do I have multiple screenshots? I do, so we'll go through them. So, first of all, this is not sealed. It looks like it's sealed, but it's not. It is an open boxed Remembrance set, original one. You have to be very specific when you're going about Remembrance sets because there's been that bloody many of them. So, yeah, I think there's been more Remembrance of the Dalek sets. Like, I think Remembrance of the Daleks has had more figure sets than any other story. You can see it is opened and that. Ooh, we'll get on that one next. Okay, it's actually one I took a separate screenshot of. But you can see all the other Daleks. Special Weapons Dalek, you can see on the top that looks like a couple... I don't know, it could be paint. But to me, it looks like it's had a couple of dings where it's fallen off. Maybe a shelf or something. But, basically... It appears... Oh. I was about to say, oh yeah, we've got the second Remembrance set, the 4-pack. That Dalek there, that is, I don't think that's from the Remembrance version, because one, it's got the straight gun, but also the eye appears to be the larger one rather than the really short one. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B&M versions. And one ace along with it. So, yeah. But is that worth £700? No. No. Like this, I would say, this you could argue be worth £300. I could see this for £300. I'd still say it was overpriced and that, but if they put it at like 100, like if this was £150, I'd say it was a decent offer. It was decent enough. And that, even 300, I'd say it was overpriced, but 700 plus £10 postage, cheeky bastards. £10 postage as well. No. Just no. Anyway, this. This, I think, ended up going the rounds twice on eBay. So, yeah, the problem with this is, someone has possibly used them for customization, or they're just damaged, but as you can see, the ball joints on this, the Dead Planet Dalek, or the Daleks Dalek, that was a problem with the initial Dalek Collector Set 1, is that the paint would very easily rub off the ball joints. Otherwise, that one's easily in the best condition, probably. Actually, no, sorry. The Genesis one is. Them two, the Genesis one and the Dead Planet one, not too bad. Genesis one does have a little bit of rub on the ball joint. But again, not too bad. I don't know why, but the plunger, the end bit of the plunger looks unusually long on that one. Unfortunately, the main reason people wanted this set is the Supreme Dalek. And one, it has had a B&M re-release, but the B&M one, Alduar did an Alduar and changed it. And I'd say the original was better. The colours are better. Now, I will say, on the re-release, what's good about the release is it did remove the oval, but for some reason he changed the paint apps on the eye and also made it less of this gold colour and much more light and that. So yeah, but this one, it's missing its dome lights. And also with the way the head is on there, I'm wondering if the actual plastic pivot for it is actually broken or not. I couldn't quite tell you. Yeah, you can see it there. And obviously also it's missing 2 hemispheres and that as well, which are the 2 that are used to where the hidden screws are behind them. So yeah, that makes me wonder if it is. And then we get onto something like this. Doctor Who custom Davros Dalek figure, Doctor Who project. The thing is, why would you make a custom Davros figure in a 5-inch scale? In this game, I don't know why. But you can see it. What's interesting about this is, obviously it's a mixture of figures. The bottom half is the bottom half of the older style of new series Daleks. Clearly a bronze one, as you can see, bits of bronze and that bleeding through. And that the paint that they've used, and that is kind of cracking around it. And that as well. Controls and that are not too bad in that. But then the body, interestingly for the body, they've used an Auton. You know, that's clearly an Auton figure. And presumably that's also what they've used for the head as well. Painting the neck bit black and that there. I can't tell whether these are bits of card or just bits of tape or what that they've added over the top there. But yeah, what it looks like they've done is they've like either sanded down the head or something like that and tried to paint it on that. It just looks wrong. It just looks wrong. You know, this isn't Davros. This is Melty Ross. So, not a great look for him. Not a great look. Oh, look, I took another screenshot of them, but yeah. The reason I call this a rip-off is because who would want this, other than the novelty factor? Plus $4.69 postage as well. Now this one is interesting. This one I wouldn't call a rip-off, it's just a more interesting one. It's actually probably much more reasonable compared to others. This is the Age of Steel Wave Cyber Controller prototype. Yeah. And we can see him here in a bit better detail. You can see here the original body, and that is all black. Interestingly, that the front pipes are presumably a slightly different formulation of PVC, maybe, because they're slightly different colours to the ones at the back. It might be because the ones at the back need to be able to bend more along with the arm ones, so they need to be softer. I don't know. Or they could very well be all the same, and it's just to differentiate them between them. But you can see here the dome underneath is just like completely silver, and that the dome underneath isn't paint, it's just left completely silver, and that with the top bit of the dome being completely clear. But yeah, it's an interesting one, that one, to be honest. And I do like the prototypes, though for me it's less interesting for me if it's just an unpainted figure. It's nice to look at, but you know, unless it's a figure that hasn't been released, then yeah, I wouldn't really have much interest in owning it. Speaking of Tomb of the Cybermen, here we have the regular Tomb Cyberman, who looks like his head has had basically, like, you can see all these little gibbly bits, which possibly is the way it came out of the moulding, I don't know. But, yeah. Well, you know, he's interesting in that to have a look at. These did all sell, I believe, on eBay and that long ago. But you can also see here from the images and that the chest unit is mostly just clear plastic. Yeah. It's always interesting that it's just completely clear plastic that is then painted up. Next we have the Earthshock Cyberman, which, my god, really needs a release. What's interesting about this one is the jaw. And also the chest piece emblem type of thing there. So they make various different prototypes. I think this one is is an earlier one than the final one, because the final one, obviously, the jaw piece and the chest piece here are clear plastic. Here they're not. I think this is more just to get the shaping and everything down like an earlier batch, because they don't just make one prototype, they make several in different stages. and that. So I think this is like stage 2 or 3, and that, and then stage 3/4 is, you know, like a closer to final type prototype, generally with these. But yeah, it is interesting like, to look at it and see a brown Cyberman. And yep, here's that ultra rare holographic 9th Doctor. I say ultra rare, I have seen him pop up a couple of times before. And obviously, we have had, not this one, but we have had the B&M version, which came out 2 years ago now, I think. Which was the later sculpt. Obviously, this one's the earlier sculpt, and I do quite like it. I do really like my translucent figures. This one does look like, particularly on these sections here, does look like he's possibly yellowed a little bit over time, though it is hard to tell. Because another problem with also translucent figures is they yellow very easily, but also get staying very easily. And sometimes they will just naturally yellow over time. Prototype Dalek. Don't know why this says Dalek's master plan. I don't know why. Because that's a 70s eye stalk, for one. Though then, a lot of the time the Daleks are just made up of parts and that for what they have as a proof of concept type thing. But if we take a look at him here, I think that, you know, this is, the problem is, the thing is, Character Options, when they're doing Dalek prototypes now, rather than making a new prototype for every single Dalek figure, what they'll do is they'll just grab, for the most part, existing prototype parts and put them together. Because Daleks are quite modular, interchangeable and that, so a lot of the time, rather than making a new prototype, they'll just assemble some pieces together and call it a day. But it's interesting that it's got a 70s style eye stalk. In fact, that one looks like possibly the one from the original Necros Dalek release. You can see it's using the earlier ping pong ball type dome lights. But yeah, it is an interesting amalgamation of parts. And we've got another prototype one. This is Genesis, which, yeah, this one looks like it is all one thing. It doesn't look. It looks less like it's like this one, where it looks like it's tons of different things shoved together. Whereas this one looks more unified. Interestingly, it's got a gold Imperial Dalek gun, which appears to be the one. Since it's a pinched version, it's most likely the one that was in the 4-pack, because that's the only time it's had the pinched gun. Actually, possibly the Destroy gun with Davros did. I can't remember whether that had the pinched gun or the straight gun. But we'll see, this is possibly around 2010, who knows. But again, yeah, interesting, the dome lights here. So, this might, the only reason I can think of this might be before 2010 is because it's using the older style of the Mini Cooper dome lights, where it was only vaguely in the shape of the Mini Cooper dome lights. So it could have been for the first set, I don't know, but that gun is definitely painted gold. So yeah, again, it could just be, it's possibly just the one that's just assembled and that from various parts that they had lying around. K1 robot here, giant K1 robot, his prototype, which again was a Build-A-Figure, which nowadays the Build-A-Figure version seems to go for about the same amount as the B&M version. Like, I've seen him go for around the same price, like, since he got re-released at B&M, with only some minor differences. His original release has dropped considerably in price. So, yeah, not really much to say in that about him. He's considerably more expensive than the other prototypes, but probably because also of his uniqueness and that as well. I mean, he's had 2 releases ever, and neither one is quite perfect. Neither one is quite perfect. Like, the B&M one is, I'd say, the more accurate version, though there was a couple of changes made to the B&M version, which were incorrect. I think there was one change made to the B&M version that was incorrect to the original, and also the dome bit. Alduar made that a much brighter pinky colour, though he made it slightly too pink. If you catch my drift here. It should be darker. The reason it looks more bright pinkish than it is, because it isn't as dark a red as the original release. It's somewhere in between. The reason it looks that pinkish in a lot of shots is basically because of the lights behind it shining through, is why it looks more like that. And we'll end it with this. Doctor Who or the Web Planet Splatter Edition vinyl. £1,085.16. It's like someone just decided, slap their keyboard, see what number pops up, okay, that, plus £9.50 postage. £9.50 postage, fucking hell. Yeah, I don't get why so many of these releases are of stories that exist. Like, why haven't they done, Power of the Daleks? Like, yeah, because for some reason they did Daleks Master Plan, they did Evil. Why didn't they do Power? Don't know. Why didn't they do Wheeling Space and that? It's just like, it's weird. And we don't get that many soundtrack releases either. Like it says, original